Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to create this surrealistic image, maybe house on the moon or whatever you want to call. This is straight out of Vue. We do have a little bit of retouching, but it's just very barely put it logo and maybe color, but overall this is straight out of the Vue. We're going to create this project inside the Vue, import some models, have it backgrounds, mostly work with the clouds, different type of clouds, different atmosphere, so you can see you can have different versions of this, and we're gonna go along and creating this scenery. Hopefully it will give you some creativity, inspiration, how you can create something more different inside the Vue, something more surrealistic look. Of course, all the project files, you'll have two of them with the different presets. They will be available for Patreon or on a Geekatplay store, as well model of this treehouse, backdrops, and all other presets, so it will be easy for you to follow along with a video, or you can open and analyze this. Again, your support on Patreon is greatly appreciated. If you want, you can become members and get it access to hundreds of tutorials and hundreds of the models. Again, it's gigabytes of models and tutorials, all for free for the members to access. And again, it's just supporting my work. I appreciate all your help and your support. It's on the patreon.com at a Geekatplay. So let's go ahead and start working on this project. Go ahead, let's begin first with creating our planet, its size. So for this one, we'll go to the File, Options, and inside File and Options, you want to go to Units and Coordinates. I am working with a matrix system. If you work with Imperial, you can work this way or how you prefer. So I'm going to switch spherical sense and click OK. And we'll use a planetary terrain for this. Next, we're going right with the size in kilometers. And we're going to set, let's go to set to 5 kilometers. Okay, let's go ahead, click OK. And if we look, we can see our small planet now create. So it's a radius 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. So I'll take main camera, we can bring up, and this is tricky with main camera because it is, you notice if I go back and forward, it's going against the kind of center of our planet. So it's kind of going this way, and you need to be a little bit more work. I'm just turn upside down, and I'll just bring up for now. So here's our planet, and of course we can use it adjustments arrow to place them. In some cases, if you have it some adjustments, remember you may have it your also lock altitude disable. This way we can adjust just a little bit more, and again you can place it. We'll just go up here. Maybe just a little bit adjusting, but I think we'll play a little bit more with adjustments after we kind of set up our first initial. Overall, here's a little planet. And you notice in the preview, let me make a little bit bigger our preview. You can see we have it all of this kind of Milky Way. And this is because, well, our atmosphere. So for now, we'll go to Atmosphere Editor. And I actually want to switch to the standard. I want a little bit more saturated illustration for this one. So we'll set automatically. Okay, and let's go do one thing before, sorry. We'll go to main camera properties and just disable after exposure. So don't have this so I can control my lighting how I want it. Okay, let's go back to our atmosphere editor. And what important here is if you look sky, fogs, and haze, we have 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers. So this is quite a bit large size. I do like some glowing around the planet going on, so we'll do keep it, but I want to modify some of the settings. We'll go modify. So the 3 kilometers, I think it's about right where I want it, because I want to create kind of this haziness, and you see how the shadow falling for fictional things, I think that will look interesting to me. We'll come back to this. So for now, I'm just taking this lower and decay lower, altitude and fog, all of this down. So you can see now we have it clear black sky. This is what I want to do, because I want to work a little bit on the terrain first, and I don't want the atmosphere distract this point. So let's go take our sunlight as well, and we'll just position maybe sunlight kind of around here, maybe just like right there. So we have a small crescent going right here, but mostly it will be open. And as we're working with sunlight, we'll go inside edit shadows, and I want to take overall shadows, bring them maybe about 86, and enable soft shadow mapper. So that will create a little bit better right here on the edges. And this is basic setup for lighting, but our planet does not look very kind of interesting. I think we can add craters. To do this, we'll just select our ground, and we're going inside the planet. So let's go open our preload materials. And if you're going to displacement material, this is default. By the way, if you see all of this, this is my custom materials. The displacement will come with views, so you just can select by default and it should be right there. And we'll use it porous one material. So when we select this, it should be applied. Now I want open properties for this material. And 3 things I want to modify. I want to take my highlights and put a little bit more to the dual. And in displacement, I want to go all the way to like 7 maybe. Something very crazy. Okay, we're going scale 1 at this case. And I think this is about all. Let's go ahead, click OK. And you know what, let's go ahead and render. So this will be our preview render. And you can see we have a very nice elements going, so it's look beautiful. Don't worry about elements hiding because we removed our atmospheres, but overall this is our textures, what I was going after. Okay, let's go ahead, click OK on this one. The next what I want to do to this planet add, it is this house on the top, and I'm going to use it house from Geekatplay. Treehouse created, and that was usually on current copy, but it's all gone. So except what you can do right now, if you're interested, if you go into my Patreon site and become members, you can access to all of the content, and you'll notice I have it right here, access to all content from Geekatplay. You can download it from current copy, all models. I think it's like 3 or 4 gigabyte of the models and same amount of tutorials, so it's everything there. However, I also will create special post about the video with all this content, with project file, everything, so you can download it everything at one and play with this. But you don't necessarily need to do this. You can always use it your own model in here. But how I say, for this reason, I just want to use it my treehouse for this. Okay, so next what I want to do is take this model, and I'm just going to drag and drop in my scenery. It's take a little bit time till it's reading, and you can see it's pop up in our scenery. But when it's open and we can look, it's teeny tiny. So I want change. I'm going in properties, sizes, and I'll just go 1.5 kilometers. Okay, so it will be, I know it's quite a bit large, but again, it will help us. Okay, let's go take this one and reposition, and we'll bring this up. Go right here. Okay, so we'll put it on the top of our planet. And notice what's happening when I drag around, it's kind of stick to the middle. So we'll put it right there. Like maybe around here. And I'm looking on a picture. Okay, so we can go rotate maybe a little bit. And there's our house. Okay, we could actually take and slightly decrease size of this house. We'll play with this a little bit later. For now, I just think positioning here it's about right. Okay, next, actually, let's take our main camera. We'll just rotate around. Okay, we'll unlock. Actually, we want to unlock height. And just maybe position a little bit this way. Kind of. Okay, so we're just readjusting some with handles to position a little bit in the center. Okay, I think this is look kind of interesting. We can go ahead, let's click render. The warning gets pop up because if you notice in a treehouse we have some lights like inside outside, so and it's kind of pop up and tell, hey, you want those illumination, keep it. So yeah, we want to keep it for now. But here's our basic setup. And I think it's a little bit off center. We'll center a little bit later. But overall, here's our basic planet and house. Of course, it's look boring, so let's go ahead and have fun now with atmosphere settings. And we're going to atmosphere editor, so we'll open this one. And we'll start with our sky fog. You remember how I said we'll want bigger, so I will set 3, let's go 3.7, somewhere around there. And you'll notice it start glowing. So this is kind of cool. It's what I want to do. Decay, let's go maybe around 2. Maybe around that area. So it should add a little bit warmer color right around. Okay, our haze. This is we can play because haze, it will add kind of more darker. If you sometimes have it too bright, we add and you can see it's give it a little bit more detail. So it's what we're going to do, maybe just about this. And let's go haze, pop up a little bit brighter. Okay, our fog, let's go switch. And I want to actually desaturate it a little bit darker, like this blue. And if we increase density just a little bit, but notice if we bring it on, right, we can see a little bit more details start coming. It's what we want. We want to bring those details that we have. Okay, we'll leave it as default. We can bring this at this point to the 0. Okay, let's go ahead in our light properties. In our light properties, I want make ambient light desaturated. Again, this is just to play with the warmer, colder colors, so it's all what we're doing. And we'll just leave it rest as default. So at this point, we can go inside the clouds and start playing a little bit with this. So the first things what I want to do is create cloud around the planet. So we'll going and we'll preload cloud. And let's go select big canvas for this. Okay, as big canvas, you can see how it's going around the planet because we set altitude 1 kilometer. So let's drop even more. We'll set to 50 meters on this. Our height, because it will become very close, but I want to have it a little bit more fun sticking out. So we'll have it height and we'll just put it maybe to 5 kilometers. Around there, that should work. So you can see it's kind of start out of the elements, kind of cool. Okay, the density cover, we maybe play with this a little bit more. Let's get around 80, but density we want definitely take down. I'll set about 18, 19, and opacity to 100%. So it should create for us very interesting covers. You see how it's like pokey a little bit right there going. So this is what I'm going. I'm going after this kind of interesting texture. Okay, sharpness, we don't need very sharp. We'll take it down. Feathering about there. Details, a little bit less. By the way, details, it's a contrast, so it's how much we have this kind of almost noise. What we want to do is take altitude and bring 100%. So let's bring the top one kind of spiky. And you can see it's come look very more artistic, kind of very interesting in this case. Okay, and we'll take our ambient light 100% and let's bring in shadows. The shadows will cast on the planet itself. So in this case, we'll have it with the shadows. We'll give it us more dimension so it does not just blend to our planet. Okay, next what I want to do, it is modify a little bit on a coloring. So for this, as it open, we'll just double time click, and you can see we open the cloud material editor. So right here, it's what I want to modify. Okay, and one, I want forced ambient color. So this is will allow me to add some coloring. Right now, white color, but I don't necessarily want it. I want change. So the sky, I'm going to probably just select something darker blue, like this. And to work very well together, we'll go with a warmer color. So they kind of both will work very well together. Okay. And as we applied, you can see our clouds come up with this lighting. So let's just give it more colors, more life to this. Okay, next, let's go inside the color and density. And in color and density, I want to actually change a little bit profile. So profile going from beginning up, and it's decaying lighter. So what I want to do is add additional point here. And I don't want them decay as fast. So that's what I'm going to do. Just to add point right here. So they kind of give it straight enough to decay on the opacity. So this will work for me a little bit more kind of interesting in some ways. Okay, roughness we'll leave it the same. Scaling, maybe let's go a little bit lower on the scaling. Variations, everything okay. Now we'll go back to atmosphere and now have it 0.2. It's too spiky. So we can change. We can try maybe 0.6 scale, and you can see it will reduce how many they become a little bit bigger. That is already kind of interesting. Let's go maybe to 1. So the 1 should have it even more spikes. There you go. That is look almost like some sun or some other things going on. Again, they're a little bit too bright for me, but it's okay. We'll rework in a second those ones. I think that is good for the clouds. Okay, let's go ahead and add another cloud. Actually, you know what? We'll come back to adding this another cloud. Before do this, I want to add more interesting backdrop to this. So let's go ahead and we'll add planet right here. As we scale this planet, and we want to take this planet actually and bring behind this. It's maybe a little bit too large. It's okay, we'll rework. What I want to do is make it a little bit smaller, but so it's covered in our right the camera. Okay, let's put phase open all the way, brightness and softness up. It still look a little bit, well, you put it behind the planet, and let's shrink it. Okay, maybe even shrink it more. Okay, I'm just looking, don't worry about the rotation, we'll re-rotate them after. I'm just looking how, because I want to create this size. There you go. Now I can see angles and we can rotate them. Yeah, right here I can see my planet. So this way I can adjust. Okay. I think that is about right, and we can change after. Well, when we applied elements. So I want to replace this moon, and we're going to select planet to the custom. And as a custom, I'm going to preload Nebula. So this is, I created in Filter Forge, this plugin, but it will be available just image high resolution. You can download it, or again, you can go on Filter Forge and preload it. And what it does, it's replace this backdrop with my Nebula. Again, I don't necessarily if it's, I like it how big, well, how small. So I'm just going to bring here. Shrink it. down. Okay, right here, because I want actually my Nebula blue will be on a side. Let's adjust. Bring maybe around here. Just adjusting. I want kind of bluish, maybe be even on a side. Maybe around here. So we have it kind of nice coloring. Well, I think these look better. So we have it reddish, blue. I think that one is working well. Okay, let's actually take our camera and move just a little bit more out. Maybe around here. There you go. Leave the adjustments. Just overall look, so it's kind of look bluish, warmish, playing with those colors. Okay, so now we start having something more interesting. I think we can go now and adjust a little bit more on our atmosphere. Okay, in atmosphere editor, let's go on a sky fog properties. Okay, we have it. Let's decrease our decay. Maybe increase 85 haze. Again, we can play with this. Probably let's pop up our fog a little bit higher. Okay, we take our glowing down. I think this is about right colors I wanted for this. We can go ahead. Let's go inside the light just to be sure what we have here. And you know what? If it's too bright, we always can take down. So this one will become a little bit darker. Yeah, I think this is better. Have a little bit more interesting story to this instead too bright. Okay, we'll go bring in. We'll just leave everything as default. Okay, so now we have it almost. Again, if you don't like this as a sun on those clouds, we can rework them. Again, remember, you can go inside the clouds and you can work on the density, reduce density, so they will be a little bit more lighter, less dense cloud. If you don't know spiking, remember you can altitude variation, we can also rework a little bit, and a cover. So like for example, we can reduce a little bit feathering and increase details, and you can see right here we'll start having a bunch of them kind of pop up like that. So it depends what you like it, but I think they will pop up details down, feathering, so it's cover. Okay, I think that way. The next things what I want to do, it is blend, add another cloud, so almost like on the top, so it will help us to blend all of them together. So let's do this, another cloud layer, and for this one we'll just use a dark canvas. And in dark canvas we're actually going to do quite a bit more. So first let's go take altitude and put to 1 kilometer. Okay, we'll take our height and let's go about 6-7 kilometers, somewhere around there. So we'll have a very wide range. You can see how they will pop up in a second. They just cover everything. That is good because it's what we want, kind of add those clouds overlay. So we'll take our cover. Let's go about 40%, somewhere around there. And our density, we want to actually put it to 1% only. Okay, and we'll take opacity 100%. Sharpness about there, feathering, let's go ahead with 100%, so it will be smoother. Add maybe a little bit on details. And again, we'll play quite a bit with altitude variation to 100%. And let's add ambient light. And we'll bring shadowing again. But this is, you can see it's kind of with lights going, but they're white, so they're not necessarily as fun. Let's work on some coloring for them. So we'll go ahead, double time click to open our coloring. What we want to do in color, we want to change our volumetric colors. So instead, we can click, of course, and just select the specific color if we need it, and it will apply it. But I want to add a little bit more interesting randomness to this. For this, we'll go use the function editor. If you don't know how to use, or if you don't have it access, it's okay, just change color what you like it. However, if you're interested, you can use it by accessing. And I have a coming tutorial about the introduction to function editor, and hopefully that will help you kind of understand. But for now, we'll just go click on the icon to open function editor. And in function editor, what we're going to do is just add a few nodes. One, we'll select color map. Okay, let's select here, double tap click, so we'll add color map. And next we want to add a simple fractal. Now we'll take fractal, connect to color map, and we'll take color map and connect to volume. Now we can destroy this. So of course our color map, if you look, it is black and white. Let's clear. So we'll have a few colors, and we're going to add a new key point. Let's go to select darker blue for this one. We'll select this color and maybe like a darker colors. And let's go select white, and we'll just say maybe like red, dark red. Trust me, we want to have darker colors as possible because it will coloring. Nice things about this, if we're going in a fractal, we can add actually gain and roughness, and you can see we'll add coloring to our elements. So now they're all applied, so we can actually play a little bit with the scale, a little bit less on scale, so we have it all these different colors. If you want, you can apply rainbow color or other things, but will work kind of nice to that. Okay, before we're going, I want to actually going back to lighting effect, and right here we have it two. We have it sun, ambient, and sky. So we can click, select one, and we'll just connect same one here. Delete this node, and let's go to sun ambient. Okay, there. So we're connecting. It's hiding a little bit. I'll just delete this one. Oops. Node and connect as well. So we'll just give it a little bit better on a coloring, I think, because we'll apply not just one. Let's go back now to atmosphere, and if you notice, they may be a little bit large or a little bit the other coloring too much. So let's go ahead and modify. So we'll go select scale, maybe 0.1. Again, we work with the density, opacity. You can play with the cover to increase, decrease amount of cover, and you notice it's kind of like grain. What's happening with this grain, why I like it, because it is creating and blending them kind of nicely together. Again, I'm not necessarily like this map, so I'm going to select this color and bring it way more desaturated. I just don't like saturation was on that, so let's just go like darker here. Okay, same will desaturate it as well, this color, and let's desaturate it this one as well. We just help kind of like almost pay dust or whatever blend for us. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, and in the clouds we can play a little bit more with the settings, but I think the details and feathering maybe just a little bit, so smoothing out. Let's go like right there, maybe. Just add color right there, a little bit better. Okay, and okay, we're smoothing here, altitude, reduce sharpness. Problem is, if we add density, let's see what's happening. You will see quite a bit starting this areas pop up blocking, so it's cover for us. It's not bad if you want to create in some cases those effects, and it may work if you want a reposition, kind of like readjusting. Take cloud layers here, and for example let's go dark canvas, and if we want just a little bit reposition, so we can preview ways this grain is going, like for example just move it a little bit this way, and after we can take our density and bring back to about 1. Now we have it a little bit in this area will be this grain, so you can do that. But it's creating almost like those very nice particles around. Okay, same with this another big canvas. It's what we used on this one. We could pop up density maybe a little bit up and preview. So I think maybe let's go even like 17, what was before, 19 about. That will create a little bit more dense on them. And if they're too bright, we can go to our atmospheres. We'll go to sky, fog, and haze, if you remember. We can bring a little bit more on our fog, increase, and it will should darken just a little bit bottom because it's applied this way. Okay, I think we're ready to preview. So let's go ahead, render preview. Okay, as I render, I can see my planet maybe a little bit too dark, so we can add a little bit more light to our planet. Get a bit more on the sunlight. And again, with the clouds, if you don't like these spiky clouds, if you want, we can reduce, increase a little bit altitude, I'll show in a second, and we can reduce some of those, make them less visible. Again, this is just to kind of play around this. Overall, I think background look okay. Can just take a little bit. Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead, close it, this one, and we'll go to our clouds. Remember this big canvas, it's what around there. We can take altitude variation, decrease around here. We can take our altitude increase by 200 meters. It will bring them way up. Like around there, you can see a little bit more smoother. Let's go next. We'll pop up feathering and just a little bit sharpness, contrast on this. Decrease density, a little bit down. Covering, scale maybe 0.8. So it should just remove some of them. You can see it's a softer, much softer going around those clouds because what we did it. We could increase actual pop up them even more, like about 6-7 kilometers. So it will spread them out a little bit more, creating this glowing. And remember, this is dark ring. This is going around dark one. This is actually our fog. So if we reduce down, you can see this like ring going right there. See how it's disappearing? So this is our other things, but I think we'll bring in a little bit more on a fog, make planet just a little bit darker. Here, right here, we'll increase maybe this one about 200 meters. So we'll give it a little bit nicer below here, and same with the haze. So it's two versions. We'll kind of start playing with this. And you notice on the haze, it's overall darkening. Okay, let's go to pop-up clouds. You can play a little bit with the glowing adjustment, so it will have it add glowing to our clouds and adding, but it won't be that much because we have our altitude on the sky and other ones. Pop up that one. So this way I'm just smoothing out. If you don't like the sharpness, just another version how to create a little bit smoothness. And I don't necessarily like it. We start losing some elements here. So let's take this altitude, bring it down to maybe 3.3. So it will start right there. I want to clear up a little bit on the sides. Yeah, that look kind of a little bit more interest to this. Okay, clouds again. This look okay. Let's go dark canvas. We can pop up a little bit on a cover for them. So we'll add a little bit more grainy, kind of almost those particles going around. Let's click OK, our main camera. Let's maybe position like right here. Just try to find right angle, maybe somewhere around here. Okay, so right here we played a little bit more, and let's go ahead and click render. So I want preview, but again with all the settings, I just normally just play with the camera, and I know it's a little bit offset, but I do like kind of sideways. I almost maybe move to the side and leave a text to put it on a side here, so we'll see. But you can see, and we'll compare two versions. We'll compare one with these lightings, and we'll compare other ones. You know what, maybe bring even up. It's look from the top. Yeah, I think maybe camera need to go even a little bit from lower points, so readjusting. Okay. Okay, also now our lighting is dim, so let's bring a little bit later, but I don't know, I can go both way. I kind of like it with and without, so I don't know. But you can see how softer clouds, you may like this better way. But let's give it this ability. So let's look right here. This is one with the brighter clouds. This is one with the softer clouds. I may like with softer better, but again, this is have their own interesting look, like almost on a sun. And of course, as I said before, we'll have the main camera selected. Now just maybe kind of right there. Selecting a little bit more on the middle. Okay, we'll have it our treehouse. Okay, let's go select treehouse and move just a little bit on the side. Okay, rotation. Just be sure it's kind of in the middle, I think. So right here we'll take our camera, and we can actually take and reduce our focal zoom. Actually focus, we don't care about focus here. This is our focal zoom, so we can just get a little bit out. I want to cover a little bit more dark sun. Yeah, that one will look a little bit better. Okay, let's go ahead again to our atmosphere editor. And in atmosphere editor, lights, let's bring about to maybe -5. So we'll add more sun to this point, a little bit more on sunlight. I just want to have this spot, sunspot, a little bit brighter in this area. And shadows will go a little bit darker. Okay. So number 40, I think this is good. Okay, our clouds, big cameras, we can pop up just a little bit, cover more, so we'll have it covering around this area. And if they're too bright, maybe too bright, let's take them down. Opacity, feathering, details, and we can take altitude down. Let's look, remove some of the spikiness. Maybe too much. Okay, let's bring altitude back, density higher, so we'll have it a little bit better. Sky fog, again, let's increase our fog mean, so it will quite a bit, should be darken planet right there. You can see I do like on a side darken, but I don't like overall. So in this case we can bring altitude down and a little bit up. So I want to have this bright spot, but I do like how it's darkened in the back right here. So it's add kind of very interesting look. If you want it, again, we can add color, and remember you can bring brighter. So what's happening, all of this dark is become more glowing planet, so it will become a little bit more fairy tale. However, I do like how it's work with the darker color actually. I do like when it's went to the dark and give it us this nice, like almost black hole coming from. Okay, haze, let's pop up and you can see we overall kind of getting darker. So we don't necessarily overall need to do this, but I want to take about 240. So altitude just right here a little bit darken. And again, you can have it more sharper by reducing, so we can a little bit add, but because it's too low, it's on altitude, it won't affect as much. Okay, and let's pop up warmer around here lighting, so we'll blend with our clouds. You know what, I'm not sure if I like these clouds is too reddish, so let's go ahead, open them, and color density, so volumetric. Let's go to lighting, and this reddish we'll just make a little bit more desaturated and a little bit brighter. So this shouldn't be as red, so a little bit more in a white then. We could set this by altitude and change colors, but we won't do in this tutorial, this video. So right here we kind of remove saturation, make them a little bit more blending. I think this has come up pretty interesting. Okay, so here's your fairy tale we created. Next what I want to do is just let's go create a bigger size image, and we'll go on super quality, click OK, and we'll start render now. So I'm going to actually pause this video till render is completed, and we'll come back when the render is done. Okay, so here's done. It took 3 minutes, not bad for this. I think that is kind of cool. We can actually add a little bit more in Photoshop, retouching, and maybe I'm going to do this. For now, what I want also, I kind of don't necessarily like the cloud, specifically this top one. I think it's need a little bit more cover on this, because we don't necessarily see it. And let's put it 2% on the density. This is this dirt kind of, it does add very interesting to this, you know, add dimension to us. And as well, we'll go on a light and let's bring a little bit brighter here. So we'll have it a little bit more brighter to the subject. Okay, I think this is look better. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our work. Remember, always save your work. Okay, and you know what, let's go render, and I'm going to render actually high resolution, so I'm going to render 3000 pixels at least. Okay, we'll go with this one, let's click OK and render one more time. Again, this is will take 3 minutes, so I will estimate this will take about 10 minutes of render time, and after this we'll resume our video. Okay, so we're done rendering. Actually, it took 25 minutes, or twice almost as long as I said, but is image done. You can see we have it grain, and it's what I wanted. It's done because we add with a cloud specifically preset. Kind of want to have this old fashioned kind of grain, but if you don't like it, you can also reduce or make it more smoother. It's up to you. You can play a little bit more around with the clouds. But overall, here's image. What we're going to do is save to format HDR and PSD, so we can a little bit see in Photoshop maybe retouching, but here's one image. And again, if you on the Patreon, you will have it access, or actually I will put it also for sale if you need it. Will be with 2 project files and all files you need it, so you can purchase on a Geekatplay or on a Gumroad, my Geekatplay site, or you can just download it for free if you're Patreon member, with all assets and 2 different project files. So will be this one, and another will be with a more fiery kind of going out. Actually, you know what, let me pull out this one. So this is will be secondary one, the file, and you can see it will have a little bit more fiery. So we'll have 2 different project files for this with a little bit more saturation. So you have options to select between which one you like it. Okay, so these steps is total optional. I just want to see what we can pull out in Photoshop. And this is I save as HDR. And first what we're going to do is tone map it. Again, I don't know what will happen when we start, but I like to unmap it because you can see we have it more dimensions that we don't see before. It's what we're going to do. Let's adjust lighting, maybe bring a little bit shadowing. Like right there, texturing kind of come up, very interesting. And we'll go just apply this preset. And when it's done, in a second, we'll just go to File and save this image. So now we can go inside the Photoshop. And in Photoshop, we can open the PSD format. It's what we save it. And we can also open HDR format. So we'll take HDR, drag and drop on top. Like right there. Okay, let's create a mask. And I can use a brush. We'll want to use very soft brush. 10% opacity flow. I'm just going in, paint, okay, X with the white. It's in some areas, just a little bit. Actually, you know what it is? 10%. Let's go to maybe around 5%. So just a little bit. Because it's just in some areas, I want to add a little bit more, like this texturing. You know what I mean? Not too much, just a little bit right there. Okay, before and after. Image, we also, you know what, let me see how it's going, because I think this will be a little bit more centered. It wasn't centered there. Like a little bit around here. There you go. That's a little bit better. Okay, also we can go ahead, if you wanted, you can play with the selective colors. So if you don't like these colors, you can always go and maybe make these black colors a bit more colder. Okay, and we'll take neutral and make neutral a little bit more warmer. Kind of like apply a little bit to this effect. We could also add curve. I don't think it's need too much to do here, because image come up out of the view render. It's kind of interesting, and so we'll add a little bit surreal. So we'll go add a little bit more cyanish color. Okay, restore reds in our curve. And you can see it's a blue cyan. So I like cyanish in the middle. So we'll go to Control Command I, inverse mask, take our brush and just a little bit brushing in cyanish around this area. Just play a little bit with the coloring, I think. So you can see we have a nice colder, kind of a little bit warmer color. In a house, right there, just a little bit yellowish, warmer cyan. So we'll play with colors. It's all set. And we can go ahead to add another curve, bring down. This will be our border, or vignetting, actual border. We select this. Let's go to curves and take feathering. Bring feathering up, set to the soft light. Let's bring below our coloring. And we also can just take a bit down. I think this is kind of almost look like all the old illustration. This is our kind of full resolution. We can look on the house. And here's our image. Okay, let's go to rename post. And this is again straight out of Vue. I don't modify too much, just to add a little bit more texturing in some cases, brightness, and add coloring. I don't know if I like it. Actually, I like original coloring, very interesting. So we could, like on the middle, so we could bring here, add just darken a little bit right there. There you go. Just restore a little bit more on originals. There you go. Okay, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you find it interesting, useful. And again, we created house that is isolated. It's going with the current time, so you can be all by yourself on some distant planet. Thank you for watching this, and thank you for your support.